Deep Rock Galactic is the best cooperative class-based shooter. If after you play this game, you don't think it absolutely slaps, then I'm sorry, I don't think you and I can be friends. I've played DRG for a long time now, ever since the early access builds when the space rig looked like this. It's grown a bit since then, with additional weapons, biomes, enemies, cosmetics, mission types, as well as several DLCs and season passes. But at its core, it has the same addictive loop. Loot, kill, survive, profit, loot again, etc. The easiest way to describe the gameplay in Deep Rock Galactic is a little bit of Left 4 Dead with a Starship Troopers vibe, and a dash of Minecraft thrown in to finish. You're a dwarf in the employ of an uncaring company called Deep Rock Galactic, who've tasked you with the unenviable job of mining all of the juicy resources from an asteroid called Hoxes 4. The downside? Well, there are creepy crawly natives that need dealing with along the way. The enemy variety is excellent, from droves of tiny annoying swarmers that are really hard to hit, through to grunts, Praetorians, oppressors who will smash your face in, to flying spitting Macterra and Needosite breeders, sneaky menaces, all the way to the dreaded bulk detonator. And that's excluding all the environmental hazards like stabbing vines, tyrant weeds, and the worst of all, the blasted cave leeches. There are 4 classes to play as. The Scout is the fast-moving recon guy, packing an assault rifle or sniper rifles. Your firepower isn't as heavy-hitting as the other classes, but you excel at hit and run. Your utility is in lighting up large caverns and clutch revives when your team is down. The Engineer is a support class with deployable turrets and a platform gun that can either close up tunnels or create bridges. Packing a shotgun, SMG, or a smart repeating rifle, you are a crowd control king. You work well with the Scout to gain objectives in out-of-reach places, or you can team with the Gunner to create choke points of death. Just try not to nuke your friends when you unlock the atomic grenade launcher, called the Fat Boy. The Gunner pretty much is what it says on the tin. The Schwarzenegger of the team, carrying a minigun, an autocannon, or a missile turret, you rain bullet hell down on your victims, turning them into insect paste. The Gunner excels at being a one-target melter. Not just a one-trick pony though, you also have deployable shield that repels bugs, and a zip line that can help the whole team traverse large canyons. Finally, the Driller, who can create pathways to anywhere on the map. Given each level is entirely destructible, the Driller is probably the only class able to easily get anywhere in short order. Bugs have got your team trapped? Driller. Last objective sitting on the roof of the canyon? Driller. Too far from the drop pod at the end of the run? Driller. Outfitted with a flamethrower, a cryo cannon, or an acidic goo dispenser, as well as C4 explosives and throwing axes, you can also put a world of hurt on the 8-legged natives. The key thing is, DRG doesn't seem to have a weak class. All the classes can be really invaluable. I started as a Driller main, then I flirted briefly both maining Scouts and Gunners, and after about 400 hours, I played more of the Engineer and absolutely fell in love. But the thing is, I don't have a bad time with any of the classes, they're all really good. Each level is procedurally generated, apart from the endgame content called Deep Dives, which are curated levels that change every week. You go from mining the objectives to madly fighting for your lives. You can play this on varying difficulties called hazards. Although from personal experience, I'd actually recommend ramping the difficulty up as high as you're willing to go, because the best fun in this game is when the mission gets drastic. Oh, hello. Haz 1 and 2 are essentially easy mode. There's not many bugs that'll trouble you. Haz 3 is probably medium difficulty. You'll need to know your own kit and class reasonably well to survive. Hazard 4 is when you need to come together as a team to succeed. If you can't rely on your teammates, this is going to be harder. Hazard 5 is an unlockable final difficulty where the game throws everything at you. If you're unfamiliar with your tools or your class, or you have poor team communication and poor teamwork, you're going to get wiped out. In terms of single player campaign, there's actually no story. You get assignments from the board, which consists of 3 to 5 separate missions that you finish for cash or cosmetic rewards. You can play this game in single player if you like, it's perfectly reasonable, and you play with an AI drone partner named Bosco. But honestly, I'd highly recommend getting into the multiplayer aspect, as the community is pretty welcoming and it's where this game really comes to life. In terms of graphics, this is likely to be one of those dividing aspects I personally love that kind of simplified, cartoonish style of graphics. It's pretty easy on the eyes. It does make seeing the objectives a little bit easier, and I would imagine it's not as hard on your GPU as well. This is not going to be to everyone's tastes, of course, but if you can get past that, there's an absolute gem of a game here. In terms of sound design, I will say that on occasion you can get confused as to where the screeching bug noises are coming from, doing a mad 360 to try and isolate where you should be focusing your bullets, but this is really a minor niggle when you consider the epic music that accompanies you as you escape to the drop pod. One of the many great things about this game is actually the development team. No microtransactions and continuous content, including seasons that are free to play with the base game. DRG is an example of games done right. Ghost Ship Games have continuously made this game better and better with each update by adding more varied enemies, deeper customization options, cosmetics for days, a wider assortment of bug smashing kit, as well as endgame content. It shows what can be achieved by a passionate developer with a solid premise who appreciates and celebrates its fanbase.
Carl would approve of this.
Yeah!
May your beards be thick and your gold satchels heavy.